Welcome back to my channel. Your host here, Razvan, with over 9 years of experience with on-premises servers and cloud services around Microsoft technologies, ex-Microsoft employee. We are here today to discuss about group licensing. So, how do we use group licensing and what would be the benefits of using licensing via groups? That's a really good question because most of you might have already assigned licenses to users in a manual fashion, which is okay, but there's a even better option, which is group licensing. And this allows you to leverage dynamic groups maybe, which are groups that will dynamically add members based on certain criteria. And when you do this, if your criteria is good enough, you no longer have to manage licenses. Whenever the user fills in that criteria, will be added to the group, which will then license the user. Whenever the user no longer meets the criteria, it will get out of the group and will no longer be licensed, which would be user offboarding scenarios. So let's have a look and see where we can define licensing. So here in the admin.microsoft.com portal, we have the billing section where you can see your products. And let's give that a second to load. Here we have it. So in my test tenant, I have Microsoft 365 Business Premium. 10 of them, and 9 of them are assigned. We have this non-profit portal, 25 of them, and Office 365 E1, 10 such licenses. We can also go on licenses and see them in more detail here. If we go on this one, which has 0 assigned, I can click on assign licenses, search for a user here, and assign this license to the user. So that's one way of doing it. Another way would be to, whenever you create a user, after you have created the user, to just go on that user, for example this one, license and apps, and just tick the license that you'd like to give to that user, and you can obviously expand this and choose what options or what services in that license to turn on or turn off. So that's the second way of doing it, which is still the manual way. And the third option would be to do it via group. For that, we need to head out to Azure. So go on to portal.azure.com. Then you will use this burger menu here to search for Azure Active Directory. I've already pinned it to my left side of the window, and you can do that via the settings menu here. And in the settings, you have appearance and startup views, and you can dock the menu behavior. So this would be the docked experience. Let's apply that, and we will always have this menu here, which is very useful. So going back here, after you've reached Azure Active Directory, go to licenses, and you'll see here all products. And in all products, you'll have a list of your license types. Assuming you have E3, E5, or F licenses, maybe you would want to create groups in order to differentiate between certain groups of people as well inside of your organization. Say, and let's assume you will have E5 that you'll give it, you'll give E5 to your employees, your internal users. You'll give E3 to maybe external or temporary consultants or to interns. And you'll probably want to give something like Exchange E1 or Exchange Plan 2 to service accounts, or to printers, or to services that are not there for long and don't need that huge of a license. In my case, let's treat this E1 case and say we would want to have a group specifically for the E1. I will not create a dynamic group because I don't have any proper example here, but you can imagine with a dynamic group what you can define there as a criteria, and we will do that in a future video when we will discuss in more detail the dynamic groups. So let's create a static group for now for this type of license. So we will need another Azure portal. Then we will head on to Azure Active Directory, groups, create a new group, and the group type will be security. I always like to use, and I advise you also to devise naming structure in your company. So because this is a user group, it will be for me ugrp underscore E1 license, or you can do it the other way around, license E1, and I think that's even a better option because then you can easily search for it. I'm imagining having 20 different types of licenses, and whenever you search in the group list, you can search for this, and then you'll see all of them, and you'll be able to pick and choose the one you were interested in. So for this one, as I was saying, the membership type will be assigned. I will not add any members now. This is just a test, so I'll create this. It's now creating. Let's give that a moment. Okay, I now have my group. So now I can either go back there to first tab, licenses, or I can go in the group and then go here on the licenses. And I can go in assignments, and I can assign the E1 license to this group, and then you'll have the option to opt out of certain services if you don't want to have them all assigned with this group. So let's click on save, and also you can combine more of one type of license, so you can have 2, 3 or more licenses assigned by the same group. So let's click on save. License assignment succeeded. So now if we go back here, we will be able to see that E1 license is active, and there are 25 of 25 enabled services, so all of them for this license type are assigned. So whenever we add someone to this group here manually, they will inherit the licenses. Whenever we pull out that person or that user from the group, the license will be also revoked for that user. We could, as I was saying, create a dynamic group and do the same thing and have it assign licenses based on the user being active, enable, having a certain domain name, having a certain manager, or being from a certain department. We could set up a number of rules and based on that to assign a certain type of license. Okay, cool. So I think that's it for today's video. If you prefer written content instead of video content, be sure to head out to my website down below, which is dimitrirazvan.com. I'll link it in the description. And once there, be sure to sign up or to subscribe to the website, as you'll be notified when there's new content created, and you'll also gain access to stuff and materials, ebooks that are reserved only for members. So thank you very much for tuning in, and talk to you next time. Bye-bye.